fuck fear of failure. Be scared of dying and not ever experiencing your dream and what you really want out of this life. Because that's way more scary. Being 70 years old and thinking to yourself, oh my God, I never started that business.
Too late.
Because I was a fucking pussy. That's the reality.
Welcome to the On-Site Podcast. We chat with contractors, educators, industry professionals about the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. So without further ado, let's fucking get into it.
All right, welcome back to the On-Site Podcast, episode 59. It's crazy. I started this like just over a year ago. I've had the privilege of talking with so many different people, and today I've got a special guest. I've been following this guy online. We actually met in another community that we started working in together, and so we've got today, it's Ole, right? There we go, from Houston, Texas. Dude's just an animal online, and I think you guys will kind of appreciate who this guy is. When I was chatting with him about, coming on the podcast, I was like, hey man, like by chance, are you like in construction at all? I feel like you're like kind of maybe a little bit in construction. You got this fitness thing, and he's like, well, actually, I do all these other things. And I was like, oh shit, man, you have no idea what you're gonna find out with people. And so I'm excited for this conversation because it's just, it caught me completely out of left field. I didn't expect for you to be doing all the things that you're doing. And so, dude, I'm excited for this conversation.
Heck yeah, man. I'm ready to melt some faces. Let's get it.
That's the creativity. Dude, so tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what you do.
Yeah. I'm Ole Jordan Hartmann. I'm from, I'm actually out in Austin, Texas, but hey, not too far from Houston. But
I fumbled it.
You messed it up, man. Say no, it's all good. It's all good.
One job.
No, I'm a man of many hats. I'm a writer, director, producer. I have a feature film coming out on Amazon that'll have a limited theatrical release in Texas in August as well. But then I'm also an online health coach, and then I run an AI agency as well. So, man of many hats, serial entrepreneur, as one might call it. But yeah, I'm ready to dive on into any of those topics or anything that we want to get into, man.
There's so many there. Tell us about this production that you got together. Let's hear a little bit about that. I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah, so it's the first ever horror movie about an AI tablet. So, like, long story short, when I moved to Texas, I'm originally from California, but I wanted to get the heck out of there. We talk about it later if we need to. But when I moved to Texas, I was really looking for businesses to buy. Like, I was actually actively on Biz Buy Sell, which is a website out here in the States where, just people list their businesses for sale, right? And I was looking at car washes, I was looking at laundry mats, I was looking at just really any sort of business that I can get into to start diversifying my portfolio. Mm-hmm. And nothing really made sense. Nothing really was hitting me. I kind of was just like I kept finding things that were good deals, but then just something would fall through. And Valentine's Day last year, 2025, my wife and I are watching one of my favorite all-time classic movies, Desperado, right? Which with Antonio Banderas, where he carries the guitar case full of guns. Yeah. And we're watching that movie. My wife falls asleep, and I'm a big trivia person. I just love learning cool shit. And I cuss on the podcast. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'll try to hold it back, but sometimes
no, man, dude. No, be real. I've got a potty mouth, so you're good to go.
Okay. All right. So, my wife falls asleep and I love trivia. And so I'm just looking at trivia, and Robert Rodriguez, the guy who wrote, directed, and produced Desperado, he initially made his first film by self-financing it, which was El Mariachi. And then he got a big budget to remake it into Desperado. And then he blew it from there. And as soon as I read that, I was like, wait a second, you could self-finance your own movie? Like, I've been a movie buff since I was 5 years old, but the whole Hollywood crowd I never resonated with. It just wasn't what I was into. And so I just, I'm never going to get into that business, even though that's what I really wanted to do, is make movies. I was like, I don't get along with that crowd. It's a lot of pedophilia and weird shit that goes on. I'm a father. I'm like, I don't want to be a part of that. I'm getting out of California. So when I found out that, oh my gosh, you can self-finance your own movie, immediately the light bulb was like, that is my fucking business. Like, that's it. Right? As much as it's a crazy business and it's a high risk, high reward, I was like, that's it. Because you know what? We only get one opportunity here on this life. And I want to do that. I've always wanted to. That's what I was just like, immediately I knew that was it. So it took me only a couple, that was on the 14th, right, of February. By the 20th, I had already came up with the idea, because I was like, man, I need to come up with a movie that's going to be awesome and badass, but it's going to be marketable. Because as a business person, I'm thinking in my head, well, how can I make this thing marketable? How can I make it something that people are actually going to want to go see? It's going to be good. And, you know, as somebody with no connections, no anything, like how come I going to be able to get it out there? And so I was like, AI tablet, right? Actually, at first it was just AI. I was like, I know I'm going to center it around AI and a chat bot. I was like, ooh, like ChatGPT. I was like, kids going to ChatGPT, but I can't GPT because ChatGPT is copyright, but I can make it like chatbot, like ChatGPT, right? So by the 20th of February, I had already started writing it. By the 28th, I was already done. And I had the script, and, you know, I just took massive action, and I got it in front of a producer who does a lot of work with AMC. And he was just like, you know, a lot of producing is actually just having the connections of the people with money, right? So, you know, it's not like you find a producer and they're just like, here you go, here's money. It doesn't work like that. It's like, you know, if you go to a producer and they'll try to often go times find the money, right, from an executive or somebody who has it. But I already had the money to do it. So I was like, you know, this is what I want to make. I don't know shit. I don't know how to do this. So, you know, can you help me? And he was like, yeah, like, you got the money to do this. Let's freaking go, man. And, you know, this guy took me under his wing, and he's my freaking brother. We've been through so much shared trauma together now after the past year of getting this thing done. But yeah, man, it'll be actually, as a matter of fact, it's literally the distributor right now is submitting it into Amazon's system as we are on. By the time this comes out, right, you know, it'll already be like announced that it's launched and stuff.
Can you send me the link to this thing when it's live and active? So I can jump in there?
Yeah, it'll be on Amazon.
That's
it'll be on Amazon Prime. So it'll be on Amazon Prime. You just be able to log into your TV and get it there. But yeah, man, we're gonna have the premiere. If you know the QC and the process that Amazon has to go through. Once we confirm the date, we're looking to launch Labor Day weekend is what we're aiming for. You know, they confirm that and say that everything's all good. Then we're gonna set the premiere up first week of August. So we'll have that in the theater and bring a lot of people out and give them a good time, man. It's gonna be awesome. So
that's wild, man. And the crazy part is, one of my all-time sayings is to take action. And like, most people just aren't willing, and you're like hyper action. Yeah, like, that's crazy action. Like, have you ever produced anything ever before?
No, I made a short film when I was in high school. That was it.
So how long is this film?
It's an hour and a half. It's a real film. No, it's a legit. I mean, yeah, that's the funny thing is, dude. When I told my parents, because I kept it a secret. You know, took us 2 weeks to shoot. We filmed it all in 2 weeks, and it took me about 4.
You were on set then, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wrote it, directed it, produced it, edited it, scored it. I mean, I did a lot for it, and it took me about 4 months to get the like kind of close to the final cut done. But then after that, you know, my co-producer, his wife had a stroke, and so then things got delayed. It was pretty rough during that time, but you know, we just, you know, ended up getting it like, okay, we have what we think is the final, as long as Amazon says it's good, you know, as of like a week ago. So took a little bit of time there, but it's all good.
That's wild. Well, I mean, you must have some pretty proud people around you, because that's an accomplishment, you know, for you to have the kahunas to throw it down and to jump into a space, you know, that's unfamiliar to you. Yeah. And that takes massive balls, man. And it does take huge action. And, you know, anybody that's listening to this, you know, when you complain about starting your little construction company and all these little things that you've got in front of you, these little barriers. I mean, this guy just fucking produced a film, you know, at the end of the day. And I think that's admirable. So that's not all you do, though. And I'm excited for this. I truly am. I'm excited to dig into that. I'm going to give you some feedback. The fact that you did it, and the fact that how it was originated, you know, most people are having babies on Valentine's Day, and you're creating a movie. You know, that's a crazy connection.
Yeah.
You know, they're conceiving babies and you're conceiving a movie, which is wild.
It's a good way to look at it. Yeah. Heck yeah.
It's crazy. It's a good story, and I'm sure it's one of many. And I'm excited for your future in that space. I'd love to, you know, keep the conversation rolling and what you get into it. But you also have some other shit going on. So what's the AI thing? What do you got going on with AI? Can you share any of that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll touch on this too, going back to the massive action thing that you brought up. I mean, something that has helped me significantly with taking massive action is really it's going to be straight up, is my fear of death and not having done what I want to do in the time that I have. So, anybody who's out there who, whether or not it's starting a, construction business, whether or not it's fucking making a movie, whether or not, whatever it is, if there's an endeavor that you've always wanted to get into, think about it like this. When you're 70, 80, 90, if you're lucky enough to make it that long and you're on your deathbed, if you're lucky enough to even know that you're on your deathbed, what are you going to be thinking about your life? How are you going to be reflecting on those times? Are you going to be thinking to yourself, man, I fucking gave this shit the best shot. I went after it. I did everything I wanted to do. I gave it my all. Or are you going to be sitting there like, man, I never started that business. Man, I never made that movie. Man, I never did this. I never did that. Or are you going to be sitting there filled with regret? Because sadly, at the end of the day, it all gets us, right? Whether we get struck by lightning or it's cancer, it's a heart attack, whatever it is, it gets us all. So it's coming. But when that time comes, are you going to be satisfied with what you did while you were here? That's it. And I'm not the only one who thinks like this. I actually found out Jeff Bezos is his fear of mortality is what propelled him into, taking the risk for Amazon. And, because before he was working an amazing corporate job, making, 6 figures, great money. His own boss told him, why would you leave this job? Why would you go do this? And, and go leave this job for that? What are you, crazy? Right? But
sell books. You want to sell books?
But he knew when he was old, he would regret not going for it. So anybody that's out there who is scared to start, stop being a fucking pussy. You're going to die one day. Do it now while you have the health, while you have the opportunity, because one day you won't.
Hey, we've got an ad here. Make sure to pay attention. What's up, guys? Are you a contractor or business owner looking to take things to the next level? Well, I've got something for you. The Elite Builder Society is a community that helps contractors grow and scale. For $49 a month, you can have access to 20 group coaching calls. Look, you're probably wondering, how am I going to show up to 20 calls, Brandon? That's a lot. And yeah, it is a lot for $49 a month. But every call is recorded so you can watch it at your leisure. But you get the best experience when you're live on the call with us. Okay, at the end of every webinar, there will be a Q&A where you can ask the industry expert questions that you can implement into your business. Look, if you're ready to take things to the next level for $49 a month, go to ebsworks.com and register today. I look forward to seeing you inside the community.
So all the language that you're using, I'm curious, were you ever in, do you know who Keaton is, The Muscle?
Yes. Yeah. From Diesel Brothers.
Limitless?
Yeah.
Were you in his community at all?
I've actually never been in his community, but I've followed him for a long time. The guy's freaking awesome, man. Great guy.
So
great guy to look up to.
He's got the Limitless arena going on right now. And one of your messages kind of inside of that, go check out his page. He posted this video, I don't know, it was a couple days ago, and he was on stage from last year. And so he didn't have a son. He's got like 5 or 6 daughters, and he's never had a son. So this year he had a son. So last year he put on this Limitless arena. And so this year, Limitless arena is going on right now. And there's over 10,000 people in this arena. And he brought all these people. It's just this crazy experience. And he's on stage and he's like, the reason I'm doing all of this is to give my kids the confidence that they can dream as big as the moon. Like this was just produced by a dream.
Yeah.
And if they have nothing to look up to, then what is the point? So I'm going to dream bigger than I can even imagine so that my kids see that they're capable too of doing the same thing. It's almost like you give them permission to be a bit, and I'm also the same way where I'm delusionally optimistic with almost everything that I enter into. I live of the same, mindset where
delusionally optimistic. Yes.
That's where you got to live. You got to be like almost completely delusionally optimistic that you believe it before it happens. Like somebody shared this with me the other day. He's like, I'm already celebrating. I'm just waiting for the award. Like I'm already celebrating everything that we've experienced. I'm just waiting. I'm just in line, pick up my award. But dude, great energy. I love it. I never expected you to honestly come with this much just passion behind you and direction to action, because it's like a pandemic where there are people, I don't even like saying that word because of the last one, but in this scenario, there truly, I feel like there is just a pandemic of people that are afraid to take action. Like, you don't even have to be optimistic. You don't even have to be any of that. Just got to be like driven enough that you want something more. And so I love what you're doing, and I love your direction. I love what's pushing you, because I feel like, that's a good space. I was thinking about this the other day. I'm doing a special little activity for my son, and I think, he'll have graduated, so I can share what I did. So I was just trying to figure out, like, what can I do for graduation? Like, he's graduating coming up, and he was on the podcast not that long ago. And I'm like, what can I share, with him? And so what I started doing was I've written 50 letters that kind of journey my life. Good, the bad, the ugly, everything, things that he can prep for, things that maybe he can sit down and noodle with at some point. I'm going to continue to write the letters after he graduates, but it was just something that I never really had done. And so I'm going through this writing process of reenacting my life, so to speak, creating these experiences. And what an emotional roller coaster of life. But just, you also, it's a journey that you get to kind of relive a little bit, and then position in a way that it's probably similar to like writing a movie, where you're trying to position the whole thing in your mind to see what it kind of looks like. And so I was playing that out, but I'm excited to give that to him on his graduation here coming up in about a week or so. And so that was something I want to share. But I'd love to hear about the AI thing, because I'm all about the AI. And whatever you're willing to share about that, dude, I think that, like, I use a lot of AI within our business.
Yeah.
I feel like a fucking superhuman. Like, I feel like I'm Superman with a backpack of things, gizmos and gadgets that most people don't even know how to turn on. And so when I walk into a room, I'm like, okay, there's only 1,000 of you. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll bite through you in about 30 seconds. And so I'm interested to hear what you're working on.
Yeah, I mean, AI is fantastic, man. It's so funny because like right now it's such a controversial topic. Like, so many, you have half the world that is like, screw AI, it's going to take all the jobs, and then you have the other half of the world that freaking loves it, right? But ultimately, I don't think that it's going to. I mean, sure, it's going to take some jobs or whatever, but the people with skills, the ones that are putting effort into the world, are the ones who are going to use AI to be better themselves and be more efficient at what they're doing and do more. I mean, that's not what I've used it for. And that's what I've helped other businesses use it for as well, is it's taking it and using it to enhance your life and make things simpler, right? But one of the big things that we do, so like I own an AI agency with my wife, we specialize in SEO and GEO, right? So SEO, GEO, everybody knows SEO, search engine optimization, your Google profile, all that. But the future is GEO, right? And then we also use AI agents as well, and we install those into businesses. So yeah, GEO is generative engine optimization. So have you ever gone to Google and you've ever looked up, like, I don't know, restaurants
How to write a movie.
Me? Yeah, how to write a movie. But then Gemini gives you an answer, right? So when Gemini gives you an answer, that is what that's what Google is slowly gravitating towards, and they're building the infrastructure for, is they want like a customized search result for whatever you look up. So it's not just a bunch of links. It's going to be AI giving you, this is the place you need to go based off of your search. That's GEO. So Google is slowly working that in, and over the next few months or even next year, man, it's going to take over. Google is not going to push links. They're not going to push really anything other than a Google business profile, and they're going to have Gemini's AI telling you which one you should go with based off of your search.
I mean, I'm curious about this, because one of the things that I've been talking to contractors about is you need to show proof about what you're doing. And maybe I'm wrong. And so I'm cool if you correct me. Totally fine. But you need to show proof of what you're doing, and you need to capture that in a way that it can be documented, and the Google spider in a roundabout way can find it. And so what I'm suggesting people actually do right now is create a almost like a full review page that encapsulates all of their clients' experiences, both video, Google reviews, any form of success story that existed from a project captured in a way that it can be digested by the internet, like, is what Google should be looking for. Like, they should be looking for proof and validation, that you're who you are and what you say you are. Because, man, like, there are all these like platforms where you can pay for, your award, that shit has fucking bugged me for life. And they always call me, they're like, yeah, we can give you this award. Okay, this is what the experience looks like. I'm like, I don't want an award that I don't deserve. Yeah. Like, I want an award that I deserve. And so I feel like there's so many businesses that jump on that train where it's like just easy validation, almost like buying followers, Yeah. And so I feel like that's what I'm suggesting people do right now in the back end is, really capture and grab as much proof that you're as good as you are and you do what you say. Is that kind of what it is? Or how do we kind of share this with how do we dumb this down?
Yeah. Well, so like SEO is a lot of keyword rich stuff. So like there are specific keywords, like what your business is, the location of it. Like there's lots of keyword specific things for SEO that take place. But GEO is a whole nother animal. And to be frank, we don't know everything yet, of course, because it's so new. But what we're seeing is that the AI for Gemini's response is much more specific. So like SEO companies will oftentimes like write blogs for businesses, right? And we'll write blogs and, make sure that they're filled with keywords and, everything that's supposed to be said. But the AI will just, if it sounds like it's written for SEO, it thinks it's bullshit. It's like, I don't know about this. It wants like real, like something that actually sounds human. Reviews are huge, right? It wants something that sounds genuine, and AI is much better at picking apart the bullshit from the non-BS. And because the goal with Google's GEO, right, is they want it to be as specific as possible. Like they don't want to give you a shit ton of options anymore. They want their Gemini to say this, like this and this. This is what you should go with, and it just be so helpful to you that you don't use anything, no other no other search engine, no anything. They want it to just be so dialed in. So their AI is way more picky as far as how it goes through your stuff. So making real, authentic stuff, reviews, content, posting that, social proof, people leaving reviews. Yeah, all of that stuff that's genuine goes a long way with the AI.
Probably across all platforms. It probably is not just limited with your website anymore. It's probably, connected to every platform that's out there. I'm curious, it feels like a door for Google to open where they can now infiltrate the ad space, because they already run the ad space. It was like, they're in the position where they're like the yellow pages right now, where they're, remember the yellow pages? I don't know. How old are you? You're not even that old.
I'm pretty young, actually. How old do you think I am? Let me ask you that.
I'm gonna go. Are you in your 30s?
No.
Are you younger?
Yeah.
No way. In your 20s.
Yep.
Crazy. Okay, 28.
No, when this podcast comes out, I will be 28. I'm 27 now as they're filming.
27.
But I started young. I had my son at 17, so I grew up quick. How old do I think you are?
Yeah.
You're not in your 40s, are you?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Early 40, 42, 43?
44.
44. Okay.
Yeah. Old balls here. No, but when I started my first business, the Yellow Pages, I was like, I kind of just watched the Meta video that Zuckerberg put out, the show that he produced, or not him, but there was that. And I was like dabbling with the Yellow Pages, and I was talking to them, and they're like, yeah, $5,000 for this fucking piece of paper. I was like, nobody's going to read this shit. This is stupid. Like, you see how many people are online? And I'm like, this is the dumbest investment ever. I'm going to forgive 3 customers that are going to use the Yellow Pages to focus on this group of people that, potentially are going to be on social media. And then I leaned in a little bit more. Didn't even lean in as much as I would have loved to. But I think what's happening, so a lot of the contractors that I work with, obviously their success is directly connected to Google Ads. Like, I have a guy right now doing over 150K a week because he's just banging in with Google Ads. And so what I was wanting to say was, the way it sounds like Google's positioning their suggestions, give them the opportunity to inject their opinion, which is a paid opinion, which I'm fearful could potentially devalue Google Ads a little bit, because people will still, similar to like pay for play. Like, I mean, Google makes a lot of money on Google Ads. Like, that must be a large portion of their business. I'm curious how they're going to differentiate, what's right from wrong in that regards. Like, how are they going to categorize people alongside this suggestion? Like, if somebody's asking about something very particular and it rips through and finds this person, and then it's going to try and force this other like option in there, Yeah,
that's a great question. I mean, a lot of these things we don't understand yet, because it is very early in the development process. I mean, even now, like if you Google something now, Gemini may not give you a response, right? Yeah. But it's kind of like every other, I've noticed every third, like Gemini gives you a response. So they're working on it, they're building it, but it depends. I mean, right now, there's already sponsored results as Google stands now that are, that always come straight up to the top, right? Of the people who are paying the money. You look up, let's just say, roofing company near me, right? And there's always 2 sponsored results that are at the top, and then you have everybody else, right? So it's already laid out that way. But yeah, as far as what it's going to do with the AI side of things, making a suggestion as well. Yeah, I mean, that's not something I don't know as of right this second how that's going to play out. I would assume something similar to how it is now, where Google it and then there's a sponsor, right, for the Google business pages that pop up. But AI
what
will
is
probably
the
sponsored or whatever too.
What are those Google ads? Home service. The electricians use it. My electrician uses it. It's a home service ad, so it's you pay a lot more. Incoming call from Google. And those are bonkers. Like that. Like if you can teleport, if those are available, because they're not available everywhere, and they're not available to everyone either. I think there's a bit of an exclusivity with them too. If you grab that electrician spot, I don't think they throw like 10 or 20 electrician spots in there. So when you have an incoming call from Google, so maybe that's how they're going to organize it. Maybe they're just dry testing that a little bit, where they can limit the access to these options, and as long as you fit the criteria, maybe that's how they'll categorize you. I don't know, man. I just know that advertising is a game changer for so many different businesses, and so many people don't do it. Like they build their organic business organically, and then they feel like they blame the world, that the world is just fighting them, but they're actually not getting any more visibility. Like a business comes down to 2 things: price, visibility. If it's priced well, you got a great service, and it's got great visibility, anything's possible. And some of the most successful people in the world, they just had more money, so they spent more money on visibility, and they could force feed their price in front of people if they can get the visibility necessary to kind of convert those clients and capture that attention of people. But no, anyway, that's a bit of a rabbit hole that we can go down. Tell me a little bit more about you. Like, you're a father, you're married. What's your life look like?
Yeah, man. So
fitness coach.
Yeah. Yep. So that was my start in business, was actually becoming a health coach. So I've been with the love of my life, my wife, since I was 15 years old. So
crazy. Good for you.
High school sweetheart since 15, and we had our son at 17 years old. Weren't planning it, of course. So that was definitely very that was a holy shit moment, right? But we stuck it out, stayed together, and we've now since have our daughter too as well. So I got 2 kids. I'm a father, and that's really what I pride myself on the most, is being a father, which is kind of going back to what we touched on earlier when you mentioned Keaton. That's why I take massive action, and why I take the risks and I do the things that I do, because I don't believe that teaching our kids means we need to give up on our dreams and teach our kids. Teaching our kids means we need to show them how to do it. So I'm going to show them how to chase your dreams, and they're going to learn from that by seeing me do it, not by me giving up on my stuff and putting into them. I mean, I just never believed in that being the right path. So I'm going all in on my dreams, because I know that it's going to teach my kids how to chase theirs too as well. So I resonated a lot with that. But yeah, I'm a father, husband, and my health coaching was how I got into business. I started off working at a BMW dealership. Yeah. I was in sales, and that's that's what taught me so much just about business in general, because we were a small family store out in a little town called Camarillo. They've since sold, but being in a small family town in sales, it wasn't like we had tons of people walking into the dealership. I mean, you had to generate your own business. You had to call, you had to post online. That was kind of like when posting online started becoming a thing. So it was like you had to post yourself online and and get yourself out there and generate a lot of your own business. And then, after a little over a year and a half being there, I got promoted to management. So I became the youngest manager at that store in that store's history, in their 30-year history, and one of the youngest managers at BMW all around. And that's where I really picked up on, like, I had learned sales, I had learned marketing, but when I got into the management position, that's where I really learned team building and how to actually manage and delegate and teach and coach. And that's what really built a lot of those skills within me, and then August of 2023, the owner of the store was an old Vietnam vet, came, he threw us all like this big potluck. And we're like, what's this potluck for, right? Like this is somebody's birthday, like, and it's they brought food and everybody and cooking, and everybody's like, a couple people are like, no, you'll see what it is, and so whole dealership gathers and gets in the middle of the showroom, and I'm talking the whole dealership, not just sales. I'm talking everybody from the service techs to the HR. Everybody is eating at this potluck, and the owner gets up in front of everybody and just starts crying, and we're like, oh, like shit, like what's he about to say? And he just says, hey, I sold the dealership, and so these are the guys. Two guys walk in. I won't say from who, because I might I don't want to get in trouble there, but these two guys come in and they say, oh, these guys are going to take over, they're going to be great, yada yada. I was like, okay, like, oh shit, like I'm thrown for a loop here, right? I had already at this time started health coaching because I'd already had my transformation. So I'd already lost over 90 pounds. I'd already gotten ripped. I'd already actually started coaching people like in the dealership and friends and family. Like I had already started coaching. I had been posting online as well, but I hadn't really announced my coaching business yet. But as soon as we found out that the store was selling, I was like, oh man, I better be prepared for this, because I don't know what the heck is going to happen here. So I actually pretty much that day I started posting about my coaching and just saying like, hey, this is a service I've been doing, if you're interested, I put like a little link to a type form or whatever on my page, and started just building up my business there. And then by the time October ran around, that is when the other business had finally taken over. And when they took over, I'm not a corporate guy. I don't do well in corporate settings. I got written up on my first day and I was like, fuck this. I was like, dude, this is so stupid. Like, and not only that, they didn't tell us what we were going to get paid for like 4 or 5 days while the takeover happened. Like, and so everybody was there like, what are we going to make? Are we going to be making money or what? Like, because, you always hear the horror stories when an acquisition happens that they come in and they cut pay and right. So we're all defense, right? We're all up in arms and we're ready to scrap. Right. I mean, that's actually why I got written up, because I got in a fight with somebody because I was so pissed off and angry that I didn't know how I was going to pay the bills that month.
What's up, guys? I hope you're enjoying this episode of the On-Site Podcast. So here's the deal. We want to grow this show and we need your help. It's simple. Pay the tax, share the show. That's it. Let's get back into it.
Like, in your defense, dude, you're a young father, right? You're providing for your family and you feel like you've been backed into a corner. You had control and you lost control. And this is the problem with like being, okay with working for someone and not grabbing the bull by the horn, so to speak, like you did. Like you ventured into that, but like so many people just fucking accept life under a blanket. Defeated every day. They wake up every day. Can you imagine how fucking miserable some people must live their life, where they just get up and it's because they're afraid of failure. Like they don't take action because they're afraid of failure. And like you were backed into a corner, fortunately for you, and maybe you didn't even need that, but you had some momentum already built and already in progress, which gave you the confidence needed. But sometimes people don't even get that confidence, and they have to step into that dark place where they have to, like stepping into coaching for me, I was blind. I went from, managing multi-million-dollar projects to losing a ton of money and then trying to figure out, okay, what's my next move? I enter into this space. Somebody asks me to help them just naturally. Just said, hey, could you help me set up my business? And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That sounds like you're non-conflicting to me. I'm going to you're in San Diego. I'm over here. You're not we're not going to compete with each other. Sure. Would you pay me? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. I was like, let's do it. And then at the end of the day, that's just how shit rolled for me. And now I'm 2 years into it. And fortunately I've helped so many people, but I've also witnessed so many people just staying under the blanket.
Yeah.
And they're fucking miserable.
Yeah.
I was curious about your, because you're just like a strong-willed man. And I was raised by a single mother. My father wasn't in my life, although he was 15 minutes away. So it was close, you know what I mean? And that fucking boils me even today, that you're that far away and you just walk away from, somebody that you brought onto this planet. And it just boils me. and your will determination. I'm just curious, like either it came from a good man or it came from something else that forced you to become who you are today. Obviously, having a little one when you're super young makes you grow up in a heartbeat. But I'm just curious, where does this fire come from, other than mortality?
Yeah, well, I have the best parents in the world. My mom and my dad are the greatest fucking parents in the world. And even though they separated when I was about 16, 18 months old, so they didn't stay together, they were so great as co-parents. My dad, to this day, my dad was not only a mentor, but he's now my best friend. So like he really had that mentor, coach, teacher, and then as I got older and developed into a man, became a friend. Right? Like that's kind of how it developed over the years. But I've got the greatest freaking parents, man. You know, I lived with my mom my whole life. I never lived with my dad because they separated, but my dad was always in my life and he always played such a huge role. And same with my mom. My mom was, you know, after the breakup, it was very hard on her, but you know, she pushed through and she made it through the storm, and you know, and she loved movies so much. Her and I always had date night as our movies. So shit, that's what led me to making a movie was her, you know. But like, yeah, I just have such amazing parents, man. I really,
that's cool, man.
I gotta give them so much credit. I do.
I appreciate you sharing that, because that you know, I never had a father, so I don't know what being a father is like, and so it kind of comes from a weird place, but exactly who you're talking about is who I try to be with my son, and him and I are experiencing those friendship experiences right now. He's just finishing up grade 12, hates fucking school. School's a joke, man. It's the dumbest platform, and you know, it's so stupid. But him and I have like this weird little connection together where we're like, you know, friends, and I'm a coach and I'm a mentor to him, and so he started doing welding. That's his trick, and
that's awesome.
So he's been working a part-time job all year, and so in the summer I would call him every day. I have this Life 360, so it tells me when he leaves work.
Oh, yeah.
And so
we do too.
Messaging me, it's like, oh, you left work, and so then I call him every fucking day. I called him for an entire month just to make sure he like leaves work with this, like, you know, talking about like with the blanket over you. Yeah, I felt like when I worked for somebody, I felt like some days I would leave work and I would just like be miserable, and then that would carry into my life, you know? Yeah. And so my goal was to just call him and just shoot the shit and have fun together. And so him and I have this like baby talking voice. We kind of like talk like, you know, babies, which is, I don't know, it's the fucking weirdest thing. But I would call him every day for an entire month when he was working there as a summer student, and I think those are memories that, you know, he'll cherish. But just hearing it from you that's what your dad was for you is really validating for me to know that, you know, I'm on the right path with my son and giving him, you know, what he needs, so that maybe one day he'll produce a movie. You know, who knows? Yeah, maybe whatever somebody's dreams are. I think it's just really important that you give them the confidence that you know, you can reach for them. When I was a kid, my grandparents were a lot in my life, and dude, my family allowed me to like think bigger than planet Earth. Yeah, you know, like my dreams were crazy. Like I was going to put my grandma in a trailer with me and take her everywhere we went. We're going to live in this trailer, and just the most random, outlandish things. But they were never like, you can't do that. It was always like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do it, you know? And so it sounds like you lived a very similar life to that. And that's awesome. And obviously, you know, creating that same path for your kids, which is exciting. Dude, I never knew all of these things about you. And obviously we never spoke outside of this, just, you know, on social back and forth, but such great, unique things that you get to hear about people. Is there anything else that you think that the listeners, you know, primarily construction people and fathers, you think there's anything else that we can share with them, you know, from your side that you want to kind of leave as a point of interest or a point of reference that, you know, maybe they can have for a takeaway from this? Yeah,
take action. I mean, one day the reality, the extremely harsh reality of life is one day you will be dead. Now, I'm a believer in God. I believe where I go one day. Whatever you believe is totally up to you, and that's fine. But the reality is our day on this planet Earth one day comes to an end. And so I always look at it, and what really helps me take tons of action is I think to myself, will I regret not doing this when I am old and I know my time is near? Because I see so many men that I've coached, but just friends that I've known for my whole life, family members that I've, talked to and have told me their dreams and why they gave up on them. Just, I've seen so many people succumb to that fear and that fear of failure. But fuck fear of failure. Be scared of dying and not ever experiencing your dream and what you really want out of this life, because that's way more scary. Being 70 years old and thinking to yourself, oh my God, I never started that business.
Too late.
Because I was a fucking pussy. That's the reality. I never did X because I was a fucking pussy. Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to call it like it is. If you're scared of failing, that's what you are. Oh, you've got kids and responsibilities in this. Yeah, so do I. I had my son at 17 years old. I got a job and I did what I thought was the right thing. And it turned out to be that job built the skill sets that I needed, right? And so what I started to learn through working at BMW and building the sales and marketing skill was how important building skill sets was. And that's actually why right out of leaving the dealership, I hired a coach to help me scale my business, because I knew that guy was Gabe Janace was my coach. So shout out to Gabe Janace. Gabe Janace was my first business coach, and he taught me how to set my business up and really scale that and build it, right? And so investing into yourself to learn the skill sets necessary to chase the dreams, that's an investment in you, and that's an investment in your future, not only for achieving your dreams, but again, that one day of getting old and being like, hey, you know what? I freaking did it, man. I did it. I started that business. I was successful. I lived the dream life that I had because I took action. That's the beauty of the time that we live in now, with all the resources that we have now and the people that you can meet online. Is, Brandon's out in Canada, but his first client was in San Diego. I've coached clients in France. I've coached clients in Canada. I've coached them in, Austin, but all over, right? And we live in a beautiful time now where you can connect with the people that will show you the way, but you just can't be a fucking pussy. So if there's anything to take away from it, it's that.
Fuck, dude, I love that. That's solid. We never even got into the faith thing, but my son and I are actually going to, I don't know, do you know who Steve Weatherford is?
I met him. I have he comes to my church out here down in Texas.
Yeah, dude, we're my son and I are locking in on a launch pad with him next week.
Oh, that's freaking awesome, man. That's so freaking awesome.
Right before Father's Day weekend, I had to work with his school to move his finals so that we could do this. He's shown a little bit of interest in faith, and so we're going right into the deep end. We're going to do a launch pad with Steve. So I'm going to be presumably a completely different person next week. By the end of next week, theoretically, I think we'll be a completely different man than I was before. And I think my son will have just this burning understanding of, his projection on where he wants to go. And so I'm excited about that. And maybe that's for a conversation for another episode on, maybe we can link this back and just see how the movie takes place. I'd love to see how the movie's doing. Maybe you get a second script where it's, the expansion of it.
I'm actually writing a book. I'm writing a book on how I did it.
That's crazy, man. What a cool experience, dude. If anybody wants to ever reach out to you, I'm sure you're always open and available. Where can people find you? Obviously, probably on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram is where I'm most popular. Got my Ole Jordan Hartmann, so OLE like Ole. My middle name Jordan, and then my last name Hartmann, but I got two N's on the end, so Ole Jordan Hartmann's my Instagram handle.
There we go.
Yeah, so if it's up on the screen, there you go. But that's where anybody can get in touch with me if you just want to shoot me over a message and ask me questions on anything, pick my brain on anything, or get connected to me in some way. I'm always down for it. I love connecting with people and networking.
I mean, I keep saying this, like, favorite podcasts. I've had a couple of different favorite podcasts. You're just a bundle of great energy, and this is what it's about. I think, if you're listening, find people like this that you can surround yourself with that really just force you to become the absolute best version of yourself. If you look around in your room and there aren't people like this really just, pushing you to become that person, calling you out when you're in your shit and not helping you or encouraging you to fucking take action, you're probably in the wrong room. This has been a great conversation, dude. I appreciate you. Definitely going to do a part 2 on this, I think. And that's when you're, walking the red carpet with some magic. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Let's rock and roll, baby. Let's rock and roll.
All right. Till next time. Thank you.
All right, that concludes this episode of the On-Site Podcast. Remember, if you enjoyed this episode, please pay the tax, share the show. Guys, if you want to be a part of the Elite Builder Society, all you got to do is pay $49 a month. That's it. $49 a month. You get 20 group coaching calls every month. Okay? Go to ebsworks.com and register today. If you enjoyed the show, please pay the tax and share the show.